What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm your boy Patman, and in today's video we're going to talk about how Halo Outpost Discovery is going to change from city to city, how 343 is capitalizing on the feedback from fans to make the event better with each subsequent event at each city. Personally, I went to Orlando and the Philadelphia one, and I can tell you firsthand it changed a lot. My experience was much better at Philly, and I had fun in Orlando. I thought it was a great event. It's a must for any Halo fan, but it is definitely improving, and I can't wait to see how fans react in all the other cities that it is coming to. This excerpt that I'm going to show you guys is from me and my buddy Kevin Kulex's podcast that we do weekly on Halo. It's called the Halo Outreach Podcast. I will leave links down in the description below if you guys would like to check those out. But we got the pleasure to interview not one but two 343 employees, John Friend and Jeff Easterling. Both great guys, and they gave us some great insight onto 343's vision for this event and how it's going to change in the future. And I will give you guys my impressions on the Philly event probably tomorrow or Wednesday. I have some better footage than the first video I did, much less shaky, a lot more steady, and I will detail how it's changed and a couple of things that I realized I didn't realize the first time around for Outpost Discovery. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please leave a like and subscribe if you're new here and you want to stay up to date on all your Halo news. I got everything Halo covered on this channel. If you're a Halo fan like me, click that subscribe button, share it with your friends. We're on our way to 1,000 subs. Let's get there by the end of the year. I appreciate all your help. I appreciate you guys watching the video. Stick around. Just had to make it to this event. It was like a 9-hour drive for me, but I didn't care. So I just wanted to thank you guys.
Where did you drive from?
I'm in North Carolina.
Oh God! Wow,
Yeah.
amazing.
So and I figured I'd kill two birds, one stone, take the kids to Disney World while I was at it. But you know, it was mostly, you know, so Daddy could go to the Halo convention. But you know, I just wanted to thank you guys for the work you guys did. Like obviously the reception was overwhelmingly positive from a lot of Halo fans, me included. I had very small gripes with some of the things at the event, and it was really interesting to keep up with you guys and see how it was changing even over the weekend. And you guys already kind of touched on that, how it's going to be changing going forward, and that's kind of the things I love about 343, especially as of late, is just the transparency between you guys and the community. And Outpost Discovery is just a great way to bring that community together. Like, that was the main, like, you know, all the stuff was really cool there, of course. All the attractions were really cool, but it was mostly about just being with fellow Halo fans and just geeking out about, you know, a series that we love. And that was the biggest draw to me, just the atmosphere that you guys created with that event and how welcoming it was. I could just walk up to anybody and just start talking Halo with them. Like, you know, it was really welcoming, and I really appreciated that kind of atmosphere. And I wanted to ask you guys, you know, I'm sure you guys have an idea of how it's going to change maybe going forward, but maybe taking some of those criticisms and applying that to, you know, Philadelphia's coming up next weekend, which I may also try to get to as well, because I honestly don't think one day was enough for me. I would like to try to make it to another one. So just from what you guys heard from the event itself, what kind of feedback are you guys looking to apply to Philly and then, you know, any future Outpost Discovery events?
I mean, first thing is, I'm incredibly proud of how we and our Hershey partners responded, and frankly also how the fans worked with us at the event. I love feedback, and we want it, and that's how you recognize stuff. And so live at the event, and we were iterating on everything. I mean, some of the stuff is small. We had put a soda machine in the VIP lounge, and then realized that there were no cups. So I grabbed our creative director, and we went over across the convention floor, and we bought a bunch of those mugs from Wild Bill's, because we're like, oops, like, we missed that. We didn't think about having the cups in the VIP lounge. It was like small stuff like that where we were just iterating on site to try and make things better. But they're two big themes of things that you know, that stuck with us, that we worked on live in Orlando, and that we've continued to grind on leading up to Philadelphia. And those relate to lines and signatures. So on the lines front, you know, lines got long at a couple points, and it's interesting. We had the folks from Hershey brought some of their experts down from the theme park business, and we were actually we were tracking people in lines. They were giving chits to people so we could measure exactly sort of how fast they were moving in the lines. And so that helped us iterate live at the event, because we could go back to the operators and say, hey, the left side of this line is moving 12 minutes faster than the right side, or whatever.
That's cool. Yeah.
So lines are the first thing, and then signatures are the second. So on the line front, there are a couple things we're doing. So one is we're going to much more carefully monitor attendance. I mean, frankly, we had a great turnout on Saturday in Orlando. Yeah. That was awesome. But it's also a problem because, oh crap, we had great attendance on Saturday, and people came flooding in the doors, and they wanted to go to some of the biggest attractions. And and in the morning we were assuming, hey, people aren't going to necessarily want a bunch of stuff on the content stage. So we're doing a ton of things from, we're going to call sellouts earlier, so we can more carefully make sure we got a great guest experience for everybody who's in the building. Mm-hmm. So we're, because on Saturday, frankly, we assumed our capacity was a little bit higher. We had this great turnout, and it was too much. So we're going to restrict that. That's the first thing that you do. Second thing you do is in the attractions where you can adjust how you're operating them, then you adjust things. We're adjusting how we scan. So people who want to scan in using the app, we're going to actually just scan their badges, which is faster than scanning the barcodes that are printed and are there on site.
Right.
We're increasing capacity so we can have more people. We've actually got a big space. We can actually make the laser tag, the combat deck, a little bit bigger, so we can have more people and a big team battle in there, right?
Awesome,
Ring experience, the same thing. We had to work with safety experts and get approvals, and sometimes those depend on things like fire marshals, but we're working on making sure that we've got actually more capacity in the ring experience. So we started the morning, we had kind of two groups of 10 going through the ring experience, and by the end of the weekend, we had gotten all the approvals, and operationally we were ready, where you could actually move more like 15 to 20 people through the ring experience at once. So literally on some of those big ones, through the course of the weekend, we increased capacity and speed at the attractions by almost double. But I will tell you, there are some experiences, and you go to the opposite, and the Covenant Escape, or the Pelican Trainer, those have hard numbers of the number of people who can be inside at one time. So there are going to be some attractions like ring, laser tag, where we can iterate even the target range. We can iterate pretty aggressively, and we think we've already more than doubled the number of people we can go through, so that we can get, our target is to get lines down. So, at a really packed time, maybe the lines, an hour, maybe a little bit more, but we never want it to extend beyond that. And we think we're going to be able to do it. And then there's going to be some other attractions like the escape rooms, which are just going to be more limited capacity. And then in all of them, we're going to add signage so people understand transparently, what they're choosing to do with their, with the time they've got at the event. So if they see a sign that says, hey, it's an hour from this point in line to go do something, then it's a decision. Hey, do I want to go play Halo Reach on PC because that area is pretty dope? Do I want to go check out what's going on the content stage because I hear something going on there? Or, is this really like, I got to do the Pelican Trainer because I am not leaving this place until I sat in the Pelican with my friends. And so there's actually more, and as Jeff said, I could probably talk your guys' ears off for hours.
I love it.
So
this is awesome.
There's a spectrum of stuff that's happening. And on the signing side, frankly, again, it was sort of like, hey, this is a good problem in the sense that we've got overwhelming demand. It's a bad problem in the sense that we weren't prepared for it. So, right. So we're going to try and communicate better. We're going to use what's referred to as the Black Friday model, which is what we had on the website at FAQ already, which is first come, first serve.
Right.
We're going to work to get information out to the folks who are coming to Philadelphia on hopefully Tuesday this week, so they know where the signing rooms are going to be. So if they choose to want to get in line early, they're going to be able to make that choice. And for other folks, we're just going to try and be transparent about it. The thing is, we're actually going to increase the number of signings we're doing. So we're going to have, we're going to add chunks of time where literally we're going to add like an hour of time where everybody from 343 who's at the event, we're going to go to a specific spot. So all of us are together in one place, and anybody wants signatures.
That's awesome.
I get that we're not Steve and Jen, but there's a bunch of us like Grim who are pretty well known and who people are excited to meet. So we're going to do a bunch of those things. But we also got to be smart, because ultimately part of why Steve and Jen are such treasures is because they're just amazing people. Right. And they're when they're doing signings, they're engaging with fans and like sharing personal experiences. So the reality is there's a limit to you can't have 5,000 people a day going through.
Yeah.
And
they're people at the end of the day.
There are people, and we got to be smart with them because they're incredible talent too, and we can't wear them out because maybe they're working on other projects with us too, right?
You got those golden voices. Don't want to wear them out this weekend.
Exactly. So there's a balance.
Also going to every city.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy.
I apologize for being long-winded. I'll try and let you guys, particularly Jeff, get in. He's a hell of a lot funnier than I am. But
no, this is great.
I mean, and really just to build thing that I think that John mentioned that I think is important to reiterate is that so much of all of that comes down to communication, because like being able to really adequately and properly, communicate things a lot of times covers a multitude of sins. Like there are certain things that the reality of a situation might not necessarily be able to change every time, but the way that we can communicate it, there's always room for improvement there, and I think that that's another thing is being able to communicate like not only just faster from a reactive standpoint, but even just communicating ahead of time, like John mentioned, having better signage, having even utilizing social channels, and making sure that on-site staff are informed and equipped to communicate locations and times of things better, because again, that is what's going to be able to just again help relay the message to folks, and then it's easier to manage everybody's expectations. And really at the end of the day, I feel like that's what, even when I think about things from a consumer standpoint and a fan standpoint, that's what I kind of expect of things that I'm a fan of, and companies and corporations and whatever, is to manage expectations well, because things might not always go according to plan, or maybe something is different than I thought. But if I'm being communicated to like on a regular and a positive basis, and I'm able to kind of adjust my expectations, then all of a sudden something that is the exact same experience can be a much more positive one because of the way it related to your expectation. Like if you go in thinking, the ring experience is a great one. Like if the longer you have to wait for something, the more it almost has to compete with that wait time.
Right.
And so we want to, make sure that we are doing everything from making sure that the destination and the attraction itself is awesome, but also at the time that you're waiting for it, and the way that we are communicating on what to expect out of that experience. Like all of those things kind of work in concert with each other. And then I think that big high level view for feedback, a lot of the feedback is broken down into what are the things that we can change for tomorrow, what are the things that we can change for the next city, and then what are the things that we look at changing for the next year.
Exactly.
All of those, we kind of like think of the feedback and the iteration in terms of those buckets from a really high level view, because we want, again, if we're on site, we want the next day's experience to be better than the one that came before it, no matter how good the one that came before it was. Right. And we want the next city to improve and to go smoother, and all of that to build to, we want people to come back each year if possible, and be able to see a marked difference in whether it be, oh, here's a new experience, or, oh man, I got to do this experience last year, but wow, like it's improved in XYZ ways, or something like that. So I think that those are the two, from my perspective, the two kind of big elements of how we process and react to feedback.
Awesome, yeah, because I think that's definitely one thing that people like. I think I like. That's reassuring to me hearing you guys talk about that. It's like I'm saying that it's like not just thinking like short term, like how to make this better, like right now, but how to make the next event better, and even like the next season of Halo Outpost Discovery improve on that as well.
Because some problems, some problems can be solved by going and buying more cups. and then some things are like, oh man, you know what, we really want to improve the experience of this this is not going to be something that we would be able to get done in between Philadelphia and Chicago. So you know what? Again, it's all about managing those expectations. It's like, hey, this is going to be something that we need to iterate on over from 1 year to the next, and really put it, put a proper investment of resources in it. And when I say resources, that could be anything, even just time and attention.